I think that everybody can take something good from most of the religions or any religion. I'm not familiar with that many religions or haven't read.
So you take your morality from religion anyway, because as an agnostic, you don't have a base.
Yeah, I think
so you have to take it from the
history,
society. Society takes it from the
history of the humanity.
from religion. Are you a Christian? What are you?
Pardon?
Are you a Christian?
I wasn't a Christian, so mostly I'm agnostic. And I'm sure
Raised in a Christian background.
Yeah, I had some Christian background. Yes.
Okay. But now you're agnostic, yeah?
I'm agnostic. Like I came from a fairly atheist country where most people aren't Christians or.
Where is that?
Czech Republic.
Okay. I thought they got lots of churches there.
Yeah, there
Czech Republic.
Yeah, historical churches, but this generation, well, in a post-socialist
the
country,
youngsters are all not in touch with their religion.
Yeah, mostly yes.
Yeah, I think the same things happen in Scandinavia. Yeah, in Sweden, Norway, Finland, that place. But do you think? Sorry to. Yeah, I don't want to like hijack your discussion, but what I want to know is like, do you actually think agnosticism gives you answers, or you're just going to forever sit on the fence and say maybe, maybe not?
I think it's much easier for people that were raised in a certain religion.
Yeah, but you know, life is about purpose, not about ease.
Yes.
So you know, some people can say, oh, I'll just sit on my couch all my life, yes, and do nothing, you know. But is that really your purpose in life? If I were to ask you, what is your purpose?
I think it doesn't help young people to be without religion because they might sense that they feel any purpose and may feel kind of lost. I think it's something to do, and I agree.
Yeah. No, but when you say that, do you think life is worth living without a purpose? Because even the atheists, even the animals, you know, they have a purpose. Even your jacket has a purpose. Your glasses have purpose.
I
So
I think even atheists can find purpose in.
yeah, but that's what I'm asking. So as an agnostic and atheist, they have different views, isn't it? You ask different people, they give you different subjective views. But in reality, what actually would be the purpose? That is saying, okay, I'm different to the animals, for example. Yes. You know, the animals want to survive, they want to live, they don't want to suffer, which means they want to be happy. Yes, this is something which is animal instinct. So are we basically at that base level of as an animal, or do we as human beings who are different, who have the faculty of reasoning, unlike the animals, you know, they don't have rational thought, they basically act on impulse and instinct. So we should have a different and a higher purpose than these animals out there.
I think that I can't be there as a judge to what's the purpose or not. I think it's perfectly rational to say that somebody has a purpose in life to do good and spread love and be kind to other people, and I think that's good enough purpose, even if they say that they're atheist or not.
Yeah, but when you say good, you know, who defines that? Because your good might be different to that lady over there, and her good might be bad for you. Yeah? Because it's subjective. As human beings, we all will have different understanding of good and bad, you know, good and evil, and so on. Yeah? For example, are you a vegetarian or vegan?
No, but
Exactly. You are vegan?
she's vegetarian.
Vegetarian? Okay, alhamdulillah, yes. So you see,
Okay.
the very example I was just telling you about good and bad. So for her, killing animals might be bad because she's a vegetarian. For you, you know, you love your chicken and your kebabs and whatever, yeah?
Yeah, but the purpose.
So who defines the good and bad? That's the thing.
Yeah, but you said it's about the purpose. So the person just doesn't wander around his life throughout, doesn't sit on the couch.
Yeah, so what exactly is it? Give me something that you think is a purpose,
yeah,
which is...
Even if I define what's the good,
Yeah.
I think that's purposeful enough. Like even
No, but your good might be evil for someone else. Like, for example, this lady friend of yours, she's a vegetarian.
Similar in a religion. Like your purpose in one religion might be bad in a view from someone
Yeah,
else.
so within a religion, the purpose is same. Outside the religion is different, which makes sense. You know, because for us, we don't make up our rules. We as people who believe in God, we say that the rules are made by God. So the do's and the don'ts that you see in the Quran, which is in your hand there, is not from us. We human beings, obviously, you know, most of us will be inclined towards sins automatically. This is human nature. Yes? Like for example, now it's winter, alhamdulillah I say, because in summer, there are women half naked. Yes? For some people, it's okay to look at them, to ogle them. They might be somebody's mother, somebody's sister, yes, somebody's daughter, yes. But for you, because they are not related to you, not you personally, but I'm saying people, if they're not related to them, they'll just say, oh, beautiful body, whatever. And you see on advertisements, selling cigarettes, selling a pack of chewing gum, yes. They actually somehow, do not respect the women for their intellect. So that's why I'm asking the purpose of our living in this society. Even the society, the rules change. A few, maybe 50 or 100 years ago, the homosexuals were getting killed. If anybody says they're gay, they'll get killed. That is how bad the society was. Yes? But today, it's accepted. So you see, even society changes as we go. So that's why I'm saying the only arbitrator of who decides what is good and what is bad, what is allowed and what is prohibited, can only be the one who created us, and that is Almighty God.
I agree that's a strong argument and a strong point of view how to look at this.
Yeah.
But I think there won't be any consensus in our lifetime that the whole world will agree this is bad.
Yeah,
this is
I
good.
agree. There's no way the whole world will
there
agree
won't
on
be
one thing.
religion. But even if I'm not binded, you said that even if I define what's good for me, that I want to spread love and I want to do some good to people by my definition.
Yeah. But you see, you're doing good.
When
Nothing
I
wrong
say
with that.
That I do good by Christian definition, it would be bounded for those who define themselves Christians. But if I would do that outside of religion, and I would say I want to do good, there always will be some people that would agree with the definition.
Yeah, I'm not saying everyone who says good is automatically wrong. What I'm saying is that it's something which is arbitrary. Somebody says good, the same thing. Like even eating food, that is defined by people, their emotions, whatever it is. But what I'm saying is that the only way we can come to an agreement, or at least close to an agreement, is to make the judge of all the judges the judge between us. So if there's any dispute, you take it back to the one who created you. You know why I keep bringing the creator in? Because if I were to ask you, where did all of this existence come from? Where did the universe come from? What would you say other than saying, I don't know? Give me a plausible answer. Where did the universe come from?
Where did the universe come from? Yeah. Like starting from the Big Bang, Like even if I say, I think it's perfectly correct to say I don't know.
Yeah.
And I would agree with there being creator. I would agree that there would be some randomness. I would agree that there would be thousands of different universes like this one.
Yeah, but still needs a source, right? If anything begins to exist like our universe, or even if it's multiple universes, if all of them had a beginning, and anything that begins to exist must have a cause.
Yeah, even Stephen Hawking,
Yeah.
as part of this is physicist, said that there would be perfectly makes sense that there would be a creator.
Yeah.
And
so that's what I'm asking you. So you mentioned a few things. You mentioned randomness. I didn't understand what you meant by that. What you mean, just popped out of existence by magic one day?
Like if I imagine that there would be some, in a high-speed collision environment in Switzerland, and in a particle accelerator.
Yeah, and what does that prove?
Large version, if there would be a large version on top of that, there would be few nanoseconds of a small universe.
No,
we would be in.
No, that's magic, bro. You can't just make up from the Hadron Collider, the larger Hadron Collider in Switzerland. They still had a controlled environment. Do you know that?
Yes.
You cannot say the same controlled environment existed before the Big Bang. So anyone who assumes that is deluded, because what they're doing is they're thinking that all of this existence and the balance and the fine tuning, if the sun was a fraction away or a fraction too close, you will be dead. They're either too hot or too cold.
Yeah, I understand that.
So it's something that we see the balance throughout the universe. Look at the planets. They don't collide into each other. Yeah?
I understand.
Yeah, so when we see all of this...
What I share with you, there is some kind of beauty that if the conditions of how the world works right now, in terms of physics, would be something slightly less or slightly more, we wouldn't be there. So it can. So
But what I'm saying is that all of this,
that would
if there was a creator, it makes sense. But if there's no creator, then how would you reconcile all of this existence in the universe? How would you understand where it came from?
Fortunately, I'm not the only one working on this, and there's like.
What are they working on? Finding where everything came from? Because science explains what exists. Science doesn't explain where things come from. For example, there's a field of study called abiogenesis, which is study of the cell, and how life originated and so on. They can never tell you how something that is material, non-sentient, became sentient all of a sudden. It started life. They can never explain that to you. So science only can deal with the naturalistic science, which is the nature that we have, which already exists. And they can study that, nothing wrong with that. In fact, religion, especially Islam, would not, tell you not to study the nature. In fact, Allah tells you in the Quran that we have shown you signs, yes, within yourself and beyond the horizon, so that you may know. Yes, which means within ourselves, everything, whether it's your biology, whether it's your consciousness, all of that. And then beyond horizon. It's every telescope that they invent, the horizon of the universe gets further and further away. Why? Because they cannot see beyond a certain point, because they have limitations, technology. Yeah, and they will still have limitations. Doesn't matter how many years or millions of years pass, they'll still have limitations. You know why? Because science does not deal with things which are metaphysical, for example. So you cannot say, oh, with science one day we'll find angels or we'll find God.
Yeah,
it's a wrong tool.
Yeah, I'm not saying that science will ever find it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it will not.
So how would you get the answer then?
Yeah. The question is do you need an answer to have purposeful life? Like, will people be any happy if they know?
We have the answer in there. The purpose of your life is to do the will of God. So, for example, it doesn't mean like you go in the mosque and just stand in prayers and that's it.
I understand. I'm perfectly respect that.
So earlier you said doing good, that is in there.
Yes.
Allah says to enjoin what is good and forbid what is evil. That is the principle that's in the Quran. So everything you said earlier is already in here. The things Allah.
I think it's good for you. I think it might make, for some people, it might make things easy to have purposeful life if that is something they truly believe in, that is the purpose. And I think that for atheists it might be a little bit complicated to find the purpose because they need to find the purpose within themselves.
Yeah. Sorry, the camera. So you see, the purpose of an atheist will differ. Yeah, every atheist will have different purpose. But you see, in Islam, when we follow the Creator, He tells us what the purpose is. For example, if I were to ask you about your phone, what is the best care you need to take, or what are the do's and the don'ts for your phone? Who is the best to explain that to you? The manufacturer, right? Yeah. So the manufacturer will tell you the do's and the don'ts for the product that you're using. And if you say, no, I don't care what the manufacturer says, I'm going to use the phone and dip it in water, even though the manufacturer told you to keep it away from water.
There are some boundaries. There are some boundaries that could be tied to our humanity. Yes.
Yeah.
But if I have my phone, the manufacturer may say, well, you can use this app and this app and this app, and I want my phone to, I want just to call my friends, and that's it.
Sorry, say again? You want to just call your friends?
Just call my friends.
That's the do's. That's from what is allowed by the manufacturer. Yeah. So what you said is nothing new. So that's why I say, everything that Islam has prohibited, I'll give you some example. Let's see if you disagree or agree with them. Okay? Fornication, adultery, stealing, lies, murder, rape, backbiting, hypocrisy. All of these things, Allah has forbidden us. Now you tell me, the other things, alcohol, gambling. I can go on,
I strongly most religions try to persuade people that can be taught how to behave somewhere good for the society. And I agree with that. I think that everybody can take something good from most of the religions or any
Yeah.
religion. I'm not familiar with that many religions or haven't read.
So you
that
take your
many
morality
religions.
from religion anyway. Because as
Yes.
an agnostic, you don't
I
have a
think-
base.
Yeah, I think
So you
that
have to take it from
since
the society.
history of
Society
the-
takes it from
history of the
from
humanity
religion.
is kind of tied to different religions,
Yeah.
and the morality of the people are kind of tied to different religions, and quite a lot of human morality is tied to religions. I agree with that, and I agree that religious texts often mention a lot of morality.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Because of how the discussion has gone, just so that we can tailor it to you properly, what criteria are you looking for to show, okay, this is from God, that God exists, God is one? What criteria do you need fulfilling to show you that is the truth?
I think that yes, sure.
So I don't want to be on the camera, but
Brother,
Brother,
if you
let-
don't
let-
want to
yes,
be,
okay,
it's okay.
let's have one
It's okay.
discussion and then we'll have a discussion with you. Is that okay?
It's okay.
Yeah, because otherwise it just gets all over the place. Yeah.
So-
So yeah, that's a good
go
question.
ahead,
So
go
if you're looking for God, what would you be looking for exactly? Do you have like a criteria?
Yeah, my criteria would be that I feel it within myself.
Say again.
I would feel it within myself.
So you need to feel it.
Yeah, to feel it with myself that I trust in it, I believe it.
So it's not a rational
It's
reason.
not rationally, I think that like any religious view
Yeah.
could be taken in a sense.
Okay. You know the problem with that? If you're saying that,
Like I'm not
rationally-
declining Quran, I'm not
No, no, no,
declining
no. I
Christianity. I'm
understand.
not,
I understand that. But I'm saying rationally, if you believe that, you can believe in anything.
Yeah, because it's just a gut feeling, isn't it?
Because exactly, it's just, and remember when I was talking about some religions like the idea of God can reign. You potentially can believe in that.
I'm saying that.
No, what I'm saying
yeah,
is
you
it's
ask for my
open the door.
criteria. My
Yeah.
criteria would be, well, the faith will be given by God, so God would put that feeling into me that I have the faith in me.
Okay.
That
So
would be my
from
criteria.
Islamic perspective, as long as you have sincerity and you're open-minded, you can ask God for guidance, and God will guide you,
Yes.
right? And there's that
That's the
aspect.
feeling I'm talking
So,
about.
yeah.
I
So-
would hope
Okay.
that
So
I'm guided. Like I had a few different times in my life,
yeah.
and during the time I was traveling to Jerusalem and to Jericho, and I was trying to find my way through asking God in a Christian way,
Yeah.
and I would, at the time, I would believe that I felt that guidance.
I see what you mean. So ask for guidance, I would say do that. But also the other aspect I mentioned is you have to be open-minded and look for the truth. When we speaking to you, I'm not saying you weren't doing, but I've noticed you are always looking for a way out of a logical argument. And the problem is, though it seems like you're using logic, your argument is irrational. So even if the truth comes to you, you will actually you
So
make,
you think that I would deny it either way?
you would deny it because of, I feel like you have a preconceived notion because of your background and everything like that. So I would say to maybe try and put that aside and just look at it objectively, right? Because in the truth will have two aspects to it. It will have an emotional side that you mentioned, right? And there will also be a rational side of things. I can tell you my emotional side. I've been giving you rational proof. Our emotional side is very simple. God is one. There's nothing like God. He doesn't die. So our purpose never dies. Everything in this world can be destroyed, but we always have God, no matter any situation. And our faith is based on clear evidence and rationality. So not only that, in terms of I have that understanding. Anytime I have weakness, I can think about it, but emotionally I'm tied to that. And I know I'll be okay. It doesn't matter whatever will happen. So there's that emotional side, and that God is almighty. God is the most loving, right? God is kinder to his creation than a mother to her children, right? We have those aspects. And I'll say look more into the understanding and do some research in terms of the nature of God in Islam. So we have God, we believe God has 100, more than 100, but there's named attributes that we know of, and there are others that are known to us, right? There are more than that. Some are known, some are unknown. But what I'm saying is, look into that, but also open your mind to the rational proof. It can't just be emotional, because if you do emotional, your criteria, you will fall into falsehood based on your criteria, rationally. And I'm sure you can agree with me. If you are not looking for rational proof as well, you are going to fall for anything, because anything can feel emotive to you at that point.
Because all religions say is the same thing, you know, like we feel, or the Hindus will say, oh, I feel Krishna came into my life. The Christians will say, I feel Jesus came into my life. You know, Muslims will say, oh, Allah is guiding them.
Yeah.
You know, all the religions make this emotional claim, yes, from their perspective. But what we do is, in that case, what we do is we see, okay, let's look at the scriptures, because all of these religions, they claim that they have some sort of communication from God, which guides them. So we look at the scriptures, and we look at the Bible, and we look at the Bhagavad Gita, and we see, okay, there are problems in there, there are contradictions in there, and as Muslims, we believe that the truth is free from contradictions. Because, you know, in the Quran, Allah gives an acid test. He gives you, there's an ayah in the Quran, a verse in the Quran, which says that if Allah reveal, if this book is from other than Allah, then surely you'll find discrepancies in it. You'll have contradictions in it. So this is one way. So if you test the Quran and if you find contradictions, then you can say, yes, I found a contradiction, hence it failed the test that was actually in the Quran itself. But then many times what happens is this contradiction is not really a contradiction. There's an explanation to it, and it's just because they haven't read the other parts of the Quran, which actually, you know, somehow reconciles what you thought was apparently a contradiction. But when we look at the other scriptures, like the Hindus or the Christians or even the Jews, you know, we find lots of contradictions in them. For example, you mentioned about Jesus or God dying. You see, when God says in the Bible itself that he is immortal, and then another party says that God became a man and he died for you. You know, the two are contradictory now. Because someone who's fully God, like Jesus, they don't say he's part God, they say he's fully God. So if someone is fully God, and even if he's fully man, yeah, he shouldn't die because of the aspect or the attribute of the fully God. So you can't say part of God died. The person of the Trinity, the second person of the Trinity, the Son, is one person. Did that person die? According to them, yes. Hence, it contradicts the 1 Timothy 6:16, which says that God, he alone is immortal. But you see, as Muslims, we don't believe God died ever. We don't believe that God became a man. We don't believe God is someone who is, you know, telling you that, okay, there is unconditional love for everyone. Everything is conditional in the eyes of, in the sight of God, you know. Otherwise, it's the same like our society. You know, we can't give unconditional mercy and love to everyone. Doesn't matter how good the society might be. Doesn't matter how good the leader might be. In order to do justice, you have to hold the people who do bad and evil accountable. And you should reward the people who are good and spreading maybe charity, you know. You should reward them. So this is even the case in our society. But just saying that I feel this way or I feel that way is neither here nor there. In fact, it's even against science. You know why? Because if I were to tell you that, okay, whom do you love more? Your pet or your family? Yeah? So it doesn't matter what answer you give, my friend. There's no way to objectively check that, isn't it? Because what you're saying is from your own subjective reasoning and understanding, which nobody else knows except you.
Yeah, I understand you.
Yeah.
I think that you're much more familiar with all scriptures than me, and if there would stand a Christian priest, that he would be able to argue and explain the contradictions. I'm not.
Yeah, we tried that many times.
Try that. But I'll give you an example. I became Muslim, Islam, and I wasn't looking.
You were raised Christian.
I was raised Christian, and I wasn't actually looking for religion. I was just wanting to find. I was curious about the difference between Muslims and Christians when it comes to Isa and Jesus, right? And it made sense to me. I looked at the evidence. I became Muslim when I was 17. I'm 34 now. From that time onwards, I have spoken to numerous religions. I've learned different, and I looked at their evidences, and it doesn't make sense rationally. And I use the evidence of the Quran, and they can't rationally prove their faith. If you speak to any other faith, I promise you, all they'll really say to you is that you have to believe. They won't give you true rational proof that you can investigate. Have you noticed we are not?
What I feel is that I kind of tend to say the same as they did.
But you don't need to defend Christianity if you're not a Christian.
I'm not defending it.
What you need to do is you need to look.
to defend that other people have different.
Yeah, of course.
purposes, and
I think that's the wrong mentality, all due respect. You are coming here to find truth. It's not about anyone else. And let me explain why.
But
Let
I
me
think
explain why.
that it's possible that my truth is different than your truth.
Truth is not subjective. A human being is born. It's not subjective. It's not subjective. Oh, he can be born from a cow, he can be born from this. It's just truth. Objective truth is objective. If you're saying a religion is from God, it can't be any other religion. I know you're trying to, this is just being political. It doesn't mean I can't be tolerant of someone else, but it doesn't mean I agree with you. We can disagree. What I'm saying is, the evidences, does it show it's subjective or objective? Simple as that, it's clear cut. Don't try and defend anyone else, because this is a matter of our soul, our life. If I am correct, you're in big trouble. If you are correct, it doesn't matter. This is the stakes. So rather than think, okay, what are we saying? What are we presenting to you? Is it proof? Is it clear? If it is, and it's from God, submit. Because everything good you have in your life is from God in the first place. The funniest thing, when he was talking about mercy and forgiveness, there's another aspect of it. Even the evildoer, before he dies, everything good he's been getting is from God. So God has been sustaining him or her. Every time they take a breath, they see with their eyes, they eat. This is mercy and blessing from God, which they have no right to, and honestly, no human being has a right to. This is a blessing we don't deserve, but has been given to us. It's only right that we worship the one who gives it to us. And not only what happens to our gratitude, we get rewarded more. So even our actions will never, we can never give back what God has given to us. Do you see what I mean? So rather than thinking other people, just think about yourself. Are you on the right path? Is this the correct purpose of life? If it is, then save yourself. Don't worry about other people. You're thinking about the wrong thing. You have to think about yourself. And if you're correct and you find Islam is the truth, guess what? You can now proceed to save your family. So this is a bigger stake than you think it is.
I'd be happy to read the scriptures.
Yeah.
I'm happy I talked to you. But before I read the scriptures,
Yeah, of course. You always have time to research.
if you said, and everything you said is true, right now it was your words, and these are the words of the Creator, as you said. So I'd be happy to read the words.
No, go for it. I'm not saying
There is one truth you cannot deny. Doesn't matter what you believe or disbelieve, whether you're agnostic, atheist, Christian, Jew, Hindu, Muslim, doesn't matter. That is death. You cannot deny that. Now let me ask you that. Have you ever given a thought to what will happen to you after death?
As I said.
Have you ever wondered?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Of course.
What will happen? What do you think will happen to you after death?
Yeah, that's what I know.
Isn't that worrying? Scary.
It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't really resonate with you, like what in case there was a life after death. Yeah? And there was God and there was angels and there was the day of judgment and there was punishment and reward. It doesn't really impact you at all, those thoughts?
If there,
if there was nothing, then we don't need to worry, right? So you and me will become ashes and dust, and that's it. That's the end of it. You see, neither of us need to worry about that aspect because there's no risk involved in that. Yes? But you see, if you disbelieve, and if all of these things are real, God, angels, reward, punishment, day of judgment, all of this was real, then you're taking a massive risk. You're putting all your eggs in one basket, saying that maybe all of this doesn't exist. But you see, if you flip the coin and you say it does exist, when you die, you realize that the truth will now become apparent to you.
yes, I understand.
And then you can't do anything about it.
I
You see?
understand. It really depends. If I believe that what I do, if there would be any afterlife, if there would be heaven, and what I do is the good, and if I do this, if I just spread the love, it means that it is the good.
Yeah, but that's,
It depends.
you know, remember earlier we
I
spoke
understand.
about
I know. It's
good
about
and bad as
definition.
subjective.
Yeah, I
So,
know. It's subjective.
you know what is the biggest sin in Islam? Yes. What is the top sin?
Like if it's not a murder, then
No, it's far worse than murder. It's called shirk, where you disbelieve in God or you associate partners with the Almighty God. Like the way the Christians do, you know, they say God is a son. Or like the Hindus say that God has many manifestations and all that. And these avatars are different basically. So it is this shirk which is the only thing Allah says in the Quran He will not forgive. Everything else He will forgive if He wills. So he rewards whom He wills and He punishes whom He wills. Yeah? So what you need to do is, I know these guys are getting loud. What you need to do is you need to reflect, like, you know, death is imminent. There's no ifs and buts about it. Yeah? Doesn't matter how big or how strong or how powerful or how rich you are, death will find them. You can go to the moon and hide if you want, or go to any planet and hide, or go to any other galaxy and hide. Death will find you. So that is the only certainty which we can be certain about. Yes, obviously from a universal point of view. Whether you're atheist, believer, disbeliever, doesn't matter. That is the only thing we'll agree upon. So what I'm asking you is not to take a massive risk, because an intelligent person lowers the risk, doesn't increase the risk. High risk is something which even the people who basically are buying shares in the stock market, they try to minimize the risk, not take a gamble and say, yes, I'm going to put all my money, and then, because that person is like really not thinking long term.
I understand.
Yes.
I
So
understand
you know why I said long term in this case? Because the eternity, the life which is eternal, is something we should prepare for, and not the temporary life in this world, which, by the way, is your test. So this life, whatever you do, the good things, the bad things you do in your life, which will be a test. And the main test is from Almighty God. Did you obey His word? Because you see, if there is a God, then God can communicate to us. How does He communicate to us? Through prophets who are human like us, through messengers. And these messengers are the ones who brought the revelation to us, the message of God. And if God is telling you to do something right, then there is blessing in that. If He forbids you from doing something, there is going to be detriment in that. That's something which is going to be not right for you. It'll be something which can be dangerous for you or harmful for you as well. It could be take gambling and alcohol. Yeah. Today many people don't give a toss about it. They say, oh, we are just drinking, a wine maybe socially, occasionally or something like that. But now you see the scientists themselves, and this is through peer-reviewed, forums, where they said that even small quantities are harmful to a human being. Yes, and that is the reason you see that for a long time they've already decided that the pregnant women shouldn't drink alcohol. Why? It impacts what she's carrying in her womb, and it's something that we understand that. Then why would you want? I'm not saying you personally. Why would somebody want to drink alcohol just for entertainment when they know it's harmful to their body? So if humans were thinking logically, yes, then even these professors and highly educated people, yes, they wouldn't be touching the drinks, but they do. Why? Because this is what they do not. They think that everything they take logically, but when it comes to certain things, they let their desires take over. Even though it's illogical to gamble, yes, and to drink alcohol, and to do drugs. Many people do it.
Yeah, I understand that people
Yeah.
often behave by their desires and they behave wrong.
Yeah.
I know this.
You know why? Because for them there's no consequence. If there was consequences, then they would not do that. I mean, imagine you drive, yeah? If there was no speeding cameras, yeah? Many people would speed through the 70, whatever the limit is, over that.
Yeah, I understand.
And the same thing with the red lights, if there is no one to hold you accountable, you might even go through the red light. So every time there is a system, there has to be reward and consequence and punishment. If there is no, then people will break the law. They'll break the rules. Yeah. So all I'm saying is, look, we are not going to compel you beyond what I know you want. You seem like an open-minded person. So have a read of the Quran. Yes. Ask questions if you have. But what I'm saying is that do not take this big risk that you will die one day without accepting Islam, without accepting the true religion. And then one day you will face God and He'll ask you, what have you done for this life that I gave you in this world? You know, which can be, I don't know, 70, 80, if you get lucky, maybe 100 years. What have you done during this time? And if you're going to say, oh, I've been a good boy, you know, been a good man, yeah, but what is good, you know, did you follow the laws that I commanded you to obey in the Quran? And you say, no, you followed your desires. You know, because that's what most people do. They follow their desires. Because if they follow the intellect, then these intelligent people, these professors, these, Nobel Prize winners, they wouldn't be touching alcohol. But they take the desires.
I'm open-minded.
Yeah, of
read
course.
the scriptures.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I talked to you.
No problem. What's your name, bro?
Daniel.
Daniel, very nice meeting you.
I have a gift for you. So this gives a general understanding of Islam, but it also gives you objective proofs that I was talking about. It has the references so you can, to investigate and do things. So have this with the Quran, have a read. And you remember the emotional part you said in terms of that. What I would advise you to do when you're by yourself, ask God for guidance. You know, and to remove anything in your heart that will stop you from accepting God if He exists. So I advise you to make that with as much sincerity as you can muster. And if you do that, one day I'll be calling, I'll see you and I'll be like,
That's a very good advice, yeah. So when you're alone, you know, just say Almighty. You don't even need to say the name of God. Yeah. Just say Almighty Creator. Yes. Guide me to the truth in this life so I can please you. And this life will have blessing for me. It'll have a purpose for me and my family, my children in the future, whatever. You know, there'll be harmony and there'll be tranquility in your heart. Because this is at the end of the day, every religion, you know, they preach, there are so many things which are common, but Islam is the only one which says you obey the will, you do the will of God. Because the thing is, otherwise, like I said, we'll let our desires take over our life, and that's how it's going to end up. And then the afterlife, which is eternal, can become the consequence of what you did in this life. So make sure that you lead a good life based on the hukam, based on the command of God, and this consequence afterlife will be good. And if you're disobedient, then it'll be something which you don't want. You know, an eternal damnation in hellfire is something nobody wants. And we, even though we don't know you, we want khair for you. We want goodness for you. Yeah? So anyway, Daniel, you take care and may God guide you. We say in Arabic, may Allah give you hidayah. Yes? And this is something we wish for everyone, you know. Whoever comes with an open mind, with sincerity, which is the most important thing. Because if you're not sincere to your own self, then who else will you be sincere to? You know? So think about it. Like I said, when you're alone, you're sitting, there's nothing to do, you know. Put your focus on God and say, and pray to Him, you know, quietly. That's fine. And inshallah, you know, He'll guide you, God willing. All right, Daniel, you take care. We have a channel called Dawahwise. We do live streams every Thursday from 5 p.m. UK time. So if you've got any questions, you're more than welcome to log in on a Thursday and have a chat directly with us. Okay? All right, you take care. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah give the brother hidayah.